just wanna party, party just for you. We just want the money, money just for you.
Welcome to YOUmedia Miami. We're having our podcast discussing social issues. So to start us off, my name is Chris Miller.
My name is Montgomery.
My name is Jose.
Jasmine. My name is Jasmine.
Kiana.
Yo, Skippy Papa, aka Lil Red.
This is Lowell. Hi, camera.
Nathan.
Hi, I'm Fernando.
Cool. So we just all watched Childish Gambino's This Is America music video. We also alongside watched some hidden messages that you might have missed while watching the video. So what were some of those messages that you guys think Childish Gambino was trying to communicate in this video?
It is very easily to get distracted by the things that looks good instead of the bad. What's this in the background? Because what I seen first was him dancing. I wasn't paying attention to the background until I went down and read the comments, and somebody said, "Let's watch the background instead of the dancing." So, you know, in the video, the dancing was a distraction because they look good, they dance good. He really killed it. In the background, it's all this violence, riots, commotion, and all that, and no one's paying attention to it. So I think he made this whole music video to say, for like 2 or 3 days, we'll put our topic on one thing, like the school shooting.
Yeah.
That was a week. We you know, that was like the main screen. And the next week it was what Kylie Jenner having a baby. What what's the name again, Travis Scott?
Yeah, with Travis. Like, what I think he's getting at is that, like, in this age of social media, we're so easily, like, distracted by everything that we, like, this is an age where everything moves so fast because we're just fed so much information and fed so much, like, just stuff just so fast. So, like, we're usually on to one thing, but by the end of that week, it's already gone out of our minds. And that's usually how things go, you know? And it's been like that for like a while. Like, anybody remembers like the Coney guy from Africa where he was like enslaving little boys to be part of the army? And, like, there was a week where everybody was like, oh, look, like Joseph Coney or whatever his name is. And then like next week we're just talking about something else. So like that is something that happens in like the society a lot where we'll care, like, quote unquote, like we'll care for like just a slight moment, but as soon as the next big thing comes up, like, oh, look at this meme, look at this person that dropped the music video, look this new dance, you know, we quickly forget about the problems that are going on. And this, I feel like this video talks about some of the things, right? So we're talking about gun violence, we're talking about, you know, he described like consumerism. That's what the video that we watched before, it said like consumerism, bondage, but there are so many other things that goes on, not even like just in the world, but just in America, in our own neighborhoods as well.
Yeah. How did you get the consumerism part?
Because they said for the change that, like, because one thing that, especially in hip-hop culture and within like the black community, one thing that I feel like we focus too much about is our jewelry. So you'll see the Migos, they'll go on a red carpet and they got like 30 chains on, they have like 50 rings on for nothing. I know a dude, right, homie lives in the hood and like he has like 50 chains on, but bro, like you still live in the hood, you know, you're not living good, but you thought it's more important to let me go buy all this jewelry because it'll make me look good, or it gives me like a false sense of value. It gives me like, hey, I have all this money, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day because your coffin is going in the same place as everybody else's.
Yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts on the Childish Gambino music video? Kiana, you seem to be thinking. What were your thoughts when first watching the video?
I think that social media in itself is a distraction for the things that's going around America. Like, basically, yeah, that's it.
What about you guys to my left, Nate and Fernando? What do you guys think?
I think this entire video symbolizes how depressing society has gotten because of how quickly we can change our priority. Because now, when you really, really think about it, priority in America for regular society, as in like maybe working middle class, is like sports, Kardashians, maybe army, and then whatever news just happened. So back then, it wasn't really like that. It was like whatever just happened, and then maybe sports, and then the army.
Yeah, and I feel like that's because you explained it well. That is like in working like middle class, because what basically they have to focus on, like what we have to focus on is like, all right, like at top of their mind is like, how am I going to get like money to survive throughout the week, throughout the month, like just like so I can survive, right? So their mind is usually always on like, oh, I gotta work, I get money, I gotta survive, yada yada yada. That like at the end of the day, you just kind of like want to indulge in, oh, let me see what the gossip is, let me watch sports, because that's all you're subject to. Rich people, they can sit there and they can be like, oh, why would I sit here and care about sports, and I can care about like all the things that are going on in the world, because I don't have any other any other thing to stress about. I don't have to stress about like am I gonna eat tomorrow, because I know I'm gonna eat tomorrow. I'm rich. I got money to do that.
No, it's just the like the other video said that the whole in the stationed cars, and they're all American models, all like they'd call them lemons. So just to think about how he was using that, how to say how America hasn't progressed it by itself in any way. It hasn't tried. It hasn't really moved on from what it was. I caught my attention a little more than everything else now that I know that it was there. It's kind of true and kind of sad how America doesn't want to try anymore. America is just taking in everybody else's stuff, and we're dealing with our own little problems, but we don't try to make ourselves better in any way.
So, what were your? I know a lot of you guys had comments about the ad-libs in the background in this song. To name a few, well, why don't you guys name them for me?
Young Thug,
OJB, Quavo,
I believe it's
Kanye.
Kanye. Was it Kanye?
I
heard the
Mr.
Kanye.
Yeez.
Okay, so with those ad-libs, what do you think was the purpose for that? Why did he have Young Thug, 21 Savage?
Because he wanted to pull in all of the lights like Kanye did.
Okay, what about Jose?
I think he was just like dissing them, like making fun
That's a
of them.
reach,
Like trying
my
to
God.
shout them out.
That's
Okay, dissing them in what way?
Like he's trying to show people like what they're like on the background, basically, something like that.
I think it's just familiarity, where it's like you hear those sounds and you're just like, oh, okay, this is a good song. Like the Black Boy GB at the very beginning, nobody else noticed, but he goes war like he does in.
I think he's just trying to like
every song.
Yeah, pretty much.
he's trying to like put him in like a position to make him like look like the reason why the world's so bad these days.
Like they're not as important.
Yeah, something like that. Like the fact that they're doing all those stuff and they're saying all those stuff and like they don't really like help the world and stuff like
They're
that.
not being good examples.
Yeah.
My initial thoughts actually were the same. It was a diss in a way where it's kind of exposing, hey, look what we're paying attention to. So like you could kind of see that by the things that a lot of these musicians and artists are talking about. Like look at the things that we rather talk about and pay attention to. Otis, I know you had hand up.
Most of the music that I made these days are with ad-libs. So I think Childish Gambino did the smart thing. If he didn't have no ad-libs in the song, I don't think no one listened to it, to be honest. Just the name Childish Gambino. Most of y'all don't have any of his songs on his phone, on your phone.
You gotta lie to me.
Okay, y'all different, okay? Most of my friends don't have any of his songs on the phone. When they hear his music, they turn off everything. So now that they have...
By that heartbeat, my guy.
Huh?
Oh,
Continue.
Now that they have like ad libs in the song by most of the best ad libs today, Quavo, Block Boy, Young Thug, Kanye, some of the best ad libs today. So that brings in more people to watch and listen to the song. Listen to the ad libs, but what he really want to do is have them listen to the message in the song and in the music video.
You know what I think? I think that Nate, don't look at me like that. I think that the ad libs are completely irrelevant, but it shows that how much we focus on things that are completely irrelevant. At the end of the day, the ad libs don't matter. The ad libs don't make the song. What matters is like the ad libs tell us nothing about the song. What the ad libs just tell us is that, oh, he reached out to this guy, and say, yo, man, just say what you say in your songs, but saying on my song. Ad libs are completely irrelevant because they add nothing to the song except for like something that's like sonically like pleasing. Like, oh yeah, cool. Like someone just said aesthetic, cool. Like that doesn't matter though. What really matters is what's going on throughout the whole video. But the fact that we sat there and we decided, hey, let me go ahead and listen to these ad libs because they kind of matter to me. It just proves that at the end of the day, we just care about irrelevant stuff.
But I like to dissect every part of the song. Like I stopped listening to some J. Cole songs because of the loop in some of his songs. I didn't like.
So, Otis, you brought up something earlier, and Loy, you was kind of adding on to it, that we quickly forget topics at hand. We quickly move on to something new. You know, that's kind of like in the generation that we're in. How quickly do you guys think we're gonna look past this Childish Gambino music video? Like, oh, okay, that was a cool music video.
3 months.
Gotta give it a month.
Let me hear it from first Monty. What do you think?
The problem lies like anything else. It's whatever the current state of affairs is what we're focused on.
Yeah.
But like the gun violence, and to me, I think it's more prevalent, and this is what's sticking to me, is more of the two scenes in which he shoots people. And growing up, you know, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you know, last century, yeah, there was gun violence, but nothing to the fact of what's happening in our schools. And my son, who's going to be turning 12, has been affected by this. So now seeing this being on a video, and he also watches videos online too, it's become like a new norm that I'm not really comfortable in. So just like how we still have this conversation about with gun violence in school, something like this, I think, is going to stay around a little bit longer than the usual. Like Madonna, you know, videos back in the days were so controversial because, you know, there's imagery that should not be there. But here, I think it's a little bit more prevalent. So I think that's just going to be, unfortunately, be around for a little bit longer than just a novel, you know, what's hot now.
Any other thoughts on it? Yeah, Otis.
I wanted to get on the kids dancing with the Childish Gambino as the videos, like the video before we watched the regular video. It was saying that Childish Gambino is America and the kids was dancing with America. So what I get from that is as long as you play along and don't try to interfere in anything like gun violence or try to be the hero and just play along as like the victim, you'll be okay in the society. Because most people that get hurt is the ones that are trying to change. Like the riots and everything, they get put in jail, shot, and hurt and all that. And the people that don't, they're safe and just like living life how it is.
Well, let's just say for like start off, you should be rioting, right? Like
protesting.
Yeah, I always say though, like rioting and protesting doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like those are my least favorite forms. Like showing like your First Amendment. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get together and we're gonna like sit outside of this building and we're just gonna yell loudly that we're mad about this law. And it's like, those guys don't care. Like those lawmakers, whatever, those guys don't care that you're sitting there and you took time off of work and you decided to sit outside of a building for 18 hours of your day and just yell, right? I think the best way to do things is like, all right, go. If you want to make something happen, all right, you start off petitions. Petitions are cool. Sometimes petitions don't even work, but petitions are a good start. How about you go run for like your like local office? Go be mayor. Try to be mayor. You know, try to be a senator. Something like that. Like actually do something that's worthwhile. But
Another thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that it was coincidental timing, I would say, because everyone know that the week before or or that week that this video dropped, Kanye kind of went ballistic on Twitter and said a lot of things that Kanye West shouldn't have said, but it was Kanye West, so he was gonna say it anyways, with pertaining to his stance with Donald Trump, how he felt that like slavery was a choice, yeah. So I think like this was a good video in that fact because it kind of took attention away from what Kanye was saying, which ended up in a lot of negativity because it's everybody getting mad over the fact that this guy likes Donald Trump, and it's kind of weird because usually when a black person like has an opinion about something, nobody wants to listen. You know how long black people have been talking about, oh, there's gun violence going on, oh, some like this and that is going on, right? Nobody listens to a black person until like maybe like a white person comes and says the same thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is cool. Like this guy's talking about something smart, but we've been talking about it for like the longest. But as soon as Kanye says something that's completely like crazy, everybody wants to listen to that. But I think that this video right here, it just took all the attention away from that. So that was a good little thing. Shout out to young Donald Glover.
I want to add to this because this will kind of leads into this other conversation.
Yeah.
If everyone is supposed to be along with America and not do anything outside of that norm, meaning if you're sleeping and a white person is calling on you and calls the police, you should be able to either listen to the white person and either leave or just not create more of a hostile situation, even though you never did in the first place. I think this is where we're going to get into a very dangerous situation because as we watched and read, it's not just one isolated case of people just trying to be part of America, but it's just like we're doing exactly what we're trying to do is be part of America, and we can't even do that. And that's what the scary part is, because as we've seen with Starbucks or with the golfing situation or people with the Airbnb, that this has become another new normal, that you're calling people out because of their skin color, not because they did anything dangerous. They're doing everything what everyone else does. But this is the problem that I see, that we're going to a brand new area that I'm just not happy with the way things are going.
So yeah, with that being said, we could go ahead and transition to the social issues that we were in. I'm gonna cut off.
But wait, it had to do with the video. It ties into what Monty just said.
All right, but we're gonna transition.
It just takes 5 seconds, bro. Let me
Go ahead.
All right, and that's kind of like cool that you say that, because if you watch at the end of the video, right, you have Childish Gambino who just ran a complete muck, right? He just ran a muck within that warehouse. He shot like other black people. He did all that, but at the end of it, he has a group of white people like chasing him. So it's like no matter how much as a black man, he tried to fit in until like America tried to be like, I guess like black people we call them Uncle Toms. Like he tried to be a complete Uncle Tom, bro. They still ended up turning on him. So it doesn't matter like how hard you try. It was like they still transition now.
So yeah, so with this video, it brings up a lot of social issues, and so the social issues that we're going to be talking about today are these multiple cases where people has been called the cops on in public places, places they should have been, had no problem being there, but they were racially profiled and discriminated and called the cops on. So we could start off with the Starbucks one. I think the Starbucks one was like the first one that got national attention and recently. So, and actually Starbucks is more of a gray area that we could try to figure out. So what were your thoughts on the two dudes who got called, the two dudes who the cops were called on because they didn't buy anything right away with 2 minutes being in Starbucks? We could start with Jasmine.
I think like on both sides, of the whole situation, it could have been avoided, like each way. Like if I were one of the guys that has to use the bathroom, like in situation, like I would have been like, can talk. Like they said, oh, you have to buy something in order. Okay, I would have gotten like a cake pop or like a cookie or something quick just to use the bathroom if I had to really go that bad, or explain, and then, or say the manager who worked there, told them like, I don't know how to explain it. Told them, explained before they even called the cops, or gave them more time than 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone else?
I feel like it's just more of a like almost, and this is kind of a stretch, but almost as if it's a Jim Crow law type of thing that Starbucks pulled, where it was like,
Explain it, Daniel.
it was like, hey, just because you can like sit in here and we'll let you for just a little bit, but we're probably gonna have to get involved in a few seconds. And it's like when they walked in, even if they would have said something probably still would have happened, because of course there's like some random made up policy that Starbucks might have. But even though that they were there for a meeting, they could have just as easily like walked out, gone somewhere else, or they could have just not even decided to meet in a Starbucks at all, or Starbucks could have just let them sit there. It would have been perfectly fine as long as somebody would have had more context as to what one person would have thought or have said.
I mean, on Twitter, it says on their Twitter feed, like Starbucks is a place where you can sit and do meetings and everything and just chill there. Because when like me and some people from YOUmedia go to Starbucks, we just sit there and chill. We don't buy nothing. We charge our phones. We be loud.
Use the internet. They got Wi-Fi.
I don't use that.
I don't have time.
Time. Like nothing bad happened. They don't come in and talk to us. We move chairs, but I move them back because I'm neat. But yeah.
Nice.
I mean, not all Starbucks like this. Just that certain one, and who was at the counter must have had like a bad day, and took it out on them people because of the way they looked. You seen how the guy hair was, like mine's hooligan hair, I guess. So, yeah.
I mean, to add to that, the clerk could have been more clear about what the situation was. It couldn't, he could have been more clear as to the reason why he called, the reason why he thought that they weren't gonna actually have a meeting, or they were just there to mess around or something like that. He could have been more clear. The two guys were in their right to just sit down, go to the bathroom, order something if they had to. Like you said, they're allowed to be in there. Even Starbucks themselves are like, oh, you can have meetings at our Starbucks because that's what we want you to do. I mean, I go to Starbucks as well all the time over here, and I'm chill with the baristas and all that stuff, and they're chill with me, and we hang out the over there. And it just, miscommunication is a very big and very bad and easy way to get anyone in trouble or for any reason. And it's that type of mentality that the clerk might have had of, oh, they must be bad people because of A, their skin color, or B, that they don't seem trustworthy. It's just not right for somebody to just label people like that.
So yeah, because technically what they were doing would be considered like loitering, just sitting there, you're not like buying anything. Because I've been to like a McDonald's, and McDonald's actually has a sign up that says, yo, like, you can't be in here for like 30 minutes if you're not gonna buy anything, right? So I understand like the loitering thing, but the dudes were in there for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, you haven't given me a chance to do anything. Maybe like as I'm having this meeting, I might decide to go buy a muffin. Yo, Starbucks muffins are amazing. Blueberry, bro.
You never had it.
Okay, you're missing out. But endorsements and sponsors. But yeah, so it's like, I understand. Like, all right, cool. Maybe they were loitering, but they were there for 2 minutes. Same thing. Like I used to go to this on Starbucks over here before like I moved, right? I used to sit in there for like at least 3 hours, like some days. Just sitting there, like I'll be writing whatever, right? No one says anything to me. So like for that barista or that clerk, whatever, just to feel that they can go against like these people's rights because they do have the right to sit in there. They have the right to if they're waiting for somebody, they go wait for somebody. You know, they were what 50. They had a meeting that was supposed to start at what like
Like 10 minutes.
in 10 minutes and 15 minutes. You know, they couldn't let them wait for 15 minutes, bro. Like, come on. And also the point on they can't they can't use the restroom if they don't buy something. Like that's like all right. I understand. Like I don't know. Like I feel like like some places have that little policy. I can't name them off the top of my head because I've never been to like a McDonald's and walked into McDonald's. Oh, I just gotta go use the restroom. No, buy chicken nuggets first and then we'll let you. That's stupid. Like.
I, so from my experience, there's a Starbucks near where I live in Florida City, and I've been there a couple of times where I would just go use the Wi-Fi on my laptop doing something important or having meetings. There's at times where I do buy stuff, and there's at times where I don't. Personally, I do feel kind of bad when I am there too long and I don't buy anything. Just you know, a personal conviction that okay, I feel like a bum if I don't end up buying something for real, because I'm in here for too long and I haven't brought anything. At least ask for a free cup of water. At least ask.
Yo,
Can
the
I
water
get a
is
free cup of water?
hitting the spot,
then
bro. They're nice and cold.
You look like okay, you're at least getting something. But I definitely would say I thought it was too quick
If she
2 minutes
for them to not be given a chance to, buy something or even to use the restroom. I definitely thought I was wrong. But has there anyone here has ever went to Starbucks and been told you have to buy something?
no.
You want to share your experience?
In well, I don't know if it's different in Florida, but in New York, of course, because they have in Times Square the New Year's Eve thing where they have to and students people can't they go use bathrooms if there's like a parade. So they have to tell them they have to buy something in order to use their restrooms. To had to buy something in a Starbucks actually, or restaurants too, other restaurants.
And by the way, like Starbucks is just too expensive for me to just be buying something just to use the restroom, bro. I'm not spending $2 on like a cup of anything just because I have to pee. That defeats the purpose, of me having to go use the restroom because I'm putting liquids back in my body.
But then you can use the cup again.
Oh.
You're so
Be green and
Yo.
recycle.
yeah, man. Reuse, recycle, bro.
So Jasmine, you pointed out very interesting, which I agree. You said it was kind of like fault on both sides. They could have done something. They could have easily brought something or left, or the Starbucks employee could have easily just given them enough time to see what was going to happen, whether or not they were going to buy something. I totally agree. So this one is definitely more like a gray area where one person was just not wrong. It could have been either or, both of the sides. But let's talk about a few other cases where it seems like definitely, okay, this was wrong. So we could talk about the Airbnb,
Airbnb.
the Airbnb one.
Airbnb.
The store?
Airbnb.
Airbnb is a way of you, instead of getting a hotel, I can rent out my house to you or a condo for however long, and charge you
You make
whatever
money
price.
off it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really good way. So rather than going to an expensive place,
Yeah, bro.
I get to live in someone's house for a week and do that.
Yeah, I done did that before.
So it's one of those
Get light
nice
girls.
conveniences.
Yeah, that's my crib.
One of those conveniences that are like, oh, that's a good option for many people to have. I just think, like the woman who rented out her house to these women didn't tell the neighbor that, oh, by the way, I'm getting someone else to cover my rent or whatever for this week. So I don't know how she can say, I don't fault my neighbor for calling the police when honestly, you're the one that allowed this to happen because you have an Airbnb space. So
But should she have to tell her neighbor that she's renting out?
no,
her...
but she doesn't have to tell her anything. But she sided with the neighbor. It's not as if they caused damage to the house, which that's a whole separate issue. If that ever happened, then yeah, the neighbor would have been in the right, but they weren't. So I think a lot of the common traits, depending on the neighborhood that this is taking
Suburbs.
place, depending on who's calling, which is a lot of white women or white people that are having problems. When you see someone who's not like you, this is what seems to be the common theme. Every single situation seems to be that situation happening over and over again. And it's again, it's troubling.
I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of rude to just assume that by someone's color or race or whatever they are, that they'll be a bad person. Because in my neighborhood, I'm not technically, I'm kind of only the Hispanic person there. I think we're one of the only Hispanic families in my neighborhood. But it doesn't change the fact that we have black people, we have white people. Doesn't really matter. My little brother, he's 11 years old. He's best friends with my neighbor who lives across the block, and he's white. And a couple blocks after, his other neighbor is black. Doesn't really matter. They're all children. Race shouldn't apply. Why does your skin color have to imply that you're a bad person?
Now,
I want to ask Jose, what were your thoughts on the Airbnb situation?
you're getting there. You're getting there.
Airbnb.
I mean, to be honest, I don't understand that. Like, why would you judge someone from their color if they're not really like the person who they're meant to be? Like, they just came to the street, and you're gonna think that there's a person that's doing something bad to you or something like that. Like, just because someone just like comes up and you don't know the reason why they're there doesn't mean that you think that it's the person that you know. Like instead of coming up to them and asking them like who they were, you went ahead and called the police. Like,
It's all
that's-
because
You
Now-
were too quick to call the police. I
Now,
think.
what
Like,
I'm
when
thinking,
I would have talked to the
See-
owner first. Like, who's this? Like,
that's the thing. Like, it's just insecurity. Like, you take it way too far into the point when you don't really know what's really going on. Like, how are you gonna be like a special person if you don't like take care of your neighborhood or don't take care of your neighbors or nothing like that? Because basically that shows that you don't take care of your neighbor. Basically that shows that you're just finding someone to put the blame on, kind of. Because instead of coming up to them and asking them, you just went ahead and called the police.
But just to play devil's advocate, why would it be her business to call the police? I mean, why would it be her to ask any questions of them?
It wasn't her business.
No,
She just went ahead and did it because she wanted to.
this is what I'm thinking, right? This lady not smart.
What?
Cause no. The lady who called the police, bro. All right, I'm thinking from my point of view. If I'm looking at these people, right? Uno, it's a very nice car that they were driving. All right, it was black. It was all black, so it has to be a nice car, right? What car was it?
Nissan.
It was a Nissan.
It was a Chevy?
It was an Infinity. Nice car.
thought it was a
It
Bentley.
looks brand new off the lot. All right, so peep this, right? Uno. Nobody's doing daytime robberies anymore with that many people, bro.
That's a fact.
And honestly, if anything, if I have a big truck like that, why am I only taking clothes?
fact.
They had like suitcases, bro. Like they were taking like clothes and everything. No one's taking just clothes, bro. Give me the watches. Give me the TV off her wall. All right. Second time, right? Second thing. These were a bunch of women that were going in and out of this house
And
from
one
what it
man?
appears,
One- it was
and
one
they
man
were
too.
dressed too well for a robbery. All right, they were just dressed too good for a robbery. I'm just saying, like, I'm not getting all dressed up to go rob somebody's house.
I mean,
Neither am I doing it in daytime.
I mean,
Cover
you
their
feel me? That's a good
faces.
cover though. You feel me? You're not supposed to just dress up in like what all black in the daylight.
In the
you might,
daylight,
you might as
bro.
well dress up in nice clothes and
Like,
rob a
come on,
house
bro.
fashionably. You know?
No, but
Still.
in all seriousness,
In your casual wear.
in
you
all
feel me?
seriousness, I supposedly, right? Because I'm gonna say supposedly because this ends up being a thing every time there's like somebody who gets falsely accused for robberies. There were supposedly robberies going on within the neighborhood already for a couple months, and I'm just like, you didn't call the cops then. And if
True.
anything, get better security systems. All right.
True.
I don't like so like you waited until like you saw these women outside, so now you could point fingers. No one was calling the cops before. Like
That's the thing, that too, because they didn't really like tell the neighbors if they noticed like what they look like or nothing like that. They didn't really like tell them to go to the street and ask them if they were the people that actually like stole those clothes or nothing.
I
like
don't think
that.
they would say they were if they were still in the clothes.
But
I
what
mean-
I'm thinking, right? After months of like robberies, you have no details on what these suspected robberies may look like. You have no details on what time of day they're going to like hit a house, because honestly, no robber's just doing things randomly. Obviously, it's just been going on for months. They have a pattern, right? So you're not thinking about any of this. You just waited until you saw a group of black females going into this house and say, you look mad suspicious, right? I guarantee in a couple months they'll find out who that robber is, and it most likely will be a white guy.
Okay.
Most likely.
Well,
Live right next door.
in a white beater, and he has like a tattoo like on his arm right here.
So
Of a clover.
these cases, they've been for whatever reason they've been getting some national attention recently. There's been multiple cases. We watched a video of Nordstrom
You
Ram.
these names today. I got you.
Thank you.
Nordstrom Rack.
Where the Nordstrom Rack, where the teens got called cops on for buying
Not
for-
No,
right.
for
stealing.
theft.
for
Or
theft.
supposedly.
But then they
Shoplifting.
actually were purchasing something. We also had the case that Monty was bringing up earlier that we could actually show you guys about these students at Yale who got called the cops because
My friend Lola.
they were in
She
they
was
were in Yale. Yeah.
she was sleeping in the dorm's common room, and a white student called the cops on her
Yeah.
because I guess she didn't like she's supposed to be there.
Can we actually
then
go
again,
ahead and
that's
take
still
a
rude.
quick look at that?
Racial profiling, but it sends a message to many black students who experience these microaggressions all the time. That what Sarah told me, you don't belong here.
I think he made a profound statement of saying, when can black people just be in spaces? What were you guys' thoughts on that interview? And yeah, what did you guys think?
I.
Go ahead.
Well, I think that not just white people, but they're all like mentally enslaved. Like they think like back in the day where like if you see a black person, you automatically think like, oh my gosh, he's reaching into his pocket, he's gonna shoot me. That's stupid.
That's extreme.
That's stupid.
I say that it's a weird thing that's like being normalized. That like I've kind of had to like it's a bad thing to get used to. You know what I mean? That you have to walk into a place and then like you just kind of normal like, oh, this person's following me because they think I'm gonna steal something. Like I remember I went into what was it? It was a Walgreens, right? And what made this worse is that like I got followed around, right? Because I was looking for some headphones and didn't find any headphones that like I could buy because like I didn't have like the exact amount of money on me, right? So like I was walking back out, and the cashier, what made it worse was that she was actually a black lady herself, and she was following me, and she's like, oh, can I help you with anything? Like, bro, like, why is it, but like there's other customers within the store, there's other people that has walked in, but you sat there and you followed me. Like I can see you down the aisle, every aisle that I go to, you're going to the same aisle as me. Like why is that suspicious, like, at all? But
Isn't that suspicious?
I've been in
That's-
similar situations. I've been in similar situations like just last week I was at a Cracker Barrel and I was looking at this thing for like a fan to plug into your phone. I thought it was cool. And then this lady, she was like breathing down my neck, like watching me, like, cause I was by the door, and I guess she thought I was gonna run out, and like, but like she wouldn't stop. She would like follow me around, like I was looking into the around the gift shop and stuff, and like she was like until she left, until I was walking. I noticed her. I looked at her. She stopped.
But like I said, it's like it's a really weird thing that like that we have to become normal with. That we have to become normal with, like, you know, we have to be become normalized to the fact that we have to act a certain way so that we don't draw attention to ourselves, but still even then we just seem to draw attention to ourselves because maybe it's like our skin that alone just does it for us. And then I remember I watched a video where a man was explaining how he was driving around, I think it was with his nephew, and then his nephew saw a cop, and then his nephew just ducked down and got scared. And he's just like, no, like, don't be afraid. What are you afraid for? And it just hit me that it's like, we've seen so many things where a black man is getting shot on television. We've seen people get arrested for no apparent reason. And now we're seeing now that people are getting the cops called on them for
No reason.
for just being places. Like for example, this article right here, it deals with a sorority.
A sorority doing
community service, right, on the side of the, in front of their sign that is theirs, like, and they're like picking up the trash, and the cops get called over because they think they're fighting, bro, and they were just standing there. You know what I mean? So it's like, at the end of the day, like, why does all this happen, and why is it that I just have to, like, it's normal to me now?
Yeah.
You know?
We're gonna hear our final thoughts from Fernando, Jose, and then Monty, and we're gonna wrap this up, you guys. So,
Well, I've had the whole entering a shopping place and being followed around, or just being picked as one of the people who would steal something. Just recently, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I was walking here to YOUmedia, and we entered a store because we were all hungry, and we had our school bags still. And all three of us, we were walking down an aisle, and then we all grabbed something, we looked at it, and put it back on the shelf. But immediately, as soon as we grabbed something, the cashier up front started yelling at us to, like, drop the bags and stuff like that. And we're just like, what just happened? We just walked in. We were trying to do service. What did we do wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it just felt kind of awkward because we weren't really doing much other than buying from the store itself.
Well, like, that never happened to me, but that sounds kind of messed up, like, to be honest. Like, I don't think people should be doing that, especially if they're trying to work and help customers do, like, trying to, like, purchase and stuff like that. Yeah.
So, I've worked in retail, so I know what it's like to be on the other side of the counter and have everyone of my employees be aware of a situation in which there's potential shoplifting going on. But in that case, it wasn't so much, oh, that person doesn't belong here. It's just more like, why is one leg suddenly bigger than the other because they're stuffing down stuff in their pants? I mean,
Got to eat it.
you
steal one polo jacket, you got to steal another.
That's the other thing. The bookstore that I used to work with used to have the bathroom open. And when I left, the manager decided, oh, we're not going to make you pay to use the bathroom. Not like buzz me in or let me get the key. No, you're going to pay to use the bathroom as a way to kind of deter things. And I'm like, the city got involved because this is in Pinecrest. This was back in the days when Borders was around. So that didn't work out because of the high problem with theft. So this, on the other hand, this is just everywhere. This is the big problem. And how we're going to combat this is, as they mentioned in the video, so this is going to be more than just us having this conversation, but it's going to have to be a movement of being people awake about what is happening for this, because it's going to happen to everyone. So, on that note, we'll end the podcast now.
yeah.
Stay woke.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Unlike me.
Thank you for having us.
Just keep talking about out.